Hey kitschy cats and kittens, my name is Erica. Welcome to my studio. Well, hello, welcome back. I want to start out by apologizing for my voice. It's very nasally. I am getting over a pretty bad cold. In this video, I am making two different things. What I'm working on are items for a raffle basket. And I will be making one basket that is San Francisco 49ers themed and one basket that is San Francisco Giants themed. And in this video, I'm going to show you how I make the trays and the coasters. So I'm starting out with the 49ers, and I have some gold and red foil flakes that I will, of course, be adding resin to. And I'm also using some gold mica. The gold of the 49ers is sort of toned down, so I add a bit of silver gray to it to mute it a little bit. And then I'm also going to be doing a red. And I use Designer Epoxy's Cherry Red Liquid Pigment for this. It's a little too much on the pink side, so I do add some resin dye to tone that down a bit too. Now, you did see me using my Let's Resin electric mixer, and I really like this resin mixer. It wasn't given to me, I actually bought it. Well, Mr. Kitschy bought it for me, but I really like it. It works really well. It does only have 40-second intervals though, so you have to keep pressing the button, but other than that, it's fantastic. So I'm just mixing up the resin here. I added a little bit of glitter to the red and gold foil. I didn't really need to do that. You can't actually see it. And here I'm adding garnet resin dye and obsidian, the black resin dye, just to tone it down a little bit. So huge bummer that I poured my resin coasters on the tray that goes into my curing machine, because as it turns out, this tray is not level and it makes a huge mess. I won't be doing that again. I chose to go with a diagonal pattern for these, and I really like it. This is the next day. They are all cured, and I'm ready to take these out of the molds. Yeah, I wasn't happy with the rim, so you'll see why. The red went all the way over into the gold. I do fix that later, but I was bummed out about that. I realized here there are some imperfections in my molds, and you can kind of see it on the bottom. So what I decided to do is I decided to add some gold to the rim. I'm just going to make the whole thing gold. And I start off, of course, by roughing that up. You want to give it something to grip to, because the resin is very shiny and very slick, so things don't really like to stick to it. And I'm just just using a nail file here. It's got buffers on it. So I essentially start with the lowest grit and then work my way up from there. I still want it to have something to grip to, but I don't want it super rough. So I start out with the gold pen, and it's okay, but it's a little bit blotchy. It doesn't look good. I would have had to use several different layers. So I do eventually switch over to some alcohol ink. I tried a second coat and I wasn't feeling it. I decided to go in with some gold metallic alcohol ink. This is a set I got from Amazon, but any gold metallic alcohol ink would have worked. I start by putting it on a sponge and dabbing it. I eventually realized that's not really working very well, and frankly, most of the ink seems to be sticking to the sponge. This method actually worked a lot better. The gold is a little bit brighter than I would like it to be, but it looks better than having the red go so far into the gold area. Doing a little cleanup there. And I go ahead and seal that in with some UV resin. As long as your UV resin is a medium to high viscosity, you should be fine. The surface tension will keep it on that rim. And I go ahead and go along with my long neck lighter to get rid of any bubbles and then give that a good cure. And this is the decal I'm going to be applying. It is a UV DTF, which technically you do not need to seal, but I do end up sealing it anyhow. I wanted the inside surface of the tray to be nice and level. And I just apply that using the hinge method, make sure there's no bubbles. And then I very slowly and carefully pull off the carrier sheet. The video is really sped up. After a coat of resin, here it is. And it's posed here with the coasters as well. There's another part to this basket, and that will be next week's video. We are on to the Giants set now, and I do apologize for the quality of this video. I have no idea what happened. It didn't look like this in the recording, nor in the original clips. And I don't know what happened with my editing program, but it overexposed everything, so I do apologize. And for this one, I'm using orange glitter, which actually turns out to just look like gold, orange mica powder, and then black resin dye. I wasn't too sure how much mica to use. You'll see later I should have used a lot more. Foreshadowing. That resin dye has seen better days. It still works though. I mix and I mix and I mix this thing to make sure that I get all of the dye mixed in well, including the stuff that's stuck to my stirring stick. So I start by pouring the glitter. I remembered from doing the 49ers tray that will end up on the bottom. I'm intending to use the other side of these coasters. Notice the difference in the saturation of the orange between what I'm pouring in the tray and in the coasters and what is in the cup. I was not paying close enough attention. Had I been, I would have seen that. Yeah, spoiler alert, I end up making these again. Okay, so here I am the next day. Totally forgot to show myself unmolding the coasters. I came out and looked at them and I'm like, that's not orange. In fact, that looks like Pittsburgh Steelers yellow. Really not what I was going for. I think they look cool, but they're not the proper color. And I don't know what happened with the glitter. The glitter is even gold. So here's attempt number 2. And I'm going to be reusing those cups on the right. Everything is cured, so none of that will get into my next pour. And again, I'm using my mixer. It is really handy. I do wish it went longer than 40 seconds at a time, but it still saves my hand and my wrist, especially when I'm doing a larger quantity. Yeah, so I lifted this out of the resin just slightly and then turned it back on so that it would kind of splatter the inside of the cup. I'm really lucky that didn't go everywhere. And so now I'm like, well, there's a ton of resin on here. I don't want to waste it. So I scrape and I scrape and I scrape and I scrape some more and I keep scraping.
Many months later.
Finally, I'm like, forget it. I'm just gonna waste the resin. This time, I'm not taking any chances with that orange. You'll see I add a lot of mica powder. And I even add some orange resin dye just to be on the safe side. I probably didn't need that orange resin dye, but like I said, I wasn't taking any chances. There was no way I was going to pour this a third time. So you can see that clear part right there. That's a good indication I didn't have enough. So at this point, I know that I need to add more mica powder. And yes, I stirred the crap out of this. I decided to use gold flakes in this one to match the 49ers tray better. I also liked how the foil flakes matched the 49ers colors, and I wanted the flakes to match the Giants colors as well. The dreaded poof with the foil flakes, it happens every time. And here's my goopy black resin dye again. All right, ready to pour, and I'm pouring this first because, you know, it's heavier than the others and I want it on the flip side. This one doesn't work that way. With the amount of mica I used, I should have seen that coming. So I know I know in the coasters to pour it last because I can see what it did in the tray. I actually end up liking this side of the tray more. I don't know why the black did what it did in this bottom left coaster. You can see it kind of went further into the orange than the other ones did. It was very odd. Resin artists like to say resin does what resin wants to do. Here I am, popping bubbles. I let these cure overnight and they are ready to take out of the molds, and I'm very happy they're orange. I do end up making a decal of the SF logo with vinyl, and I give it a coat of resin to level it all out. This raffle actually happened January 31st, and the man that won the Giants basket was beside himself excited. It was so cool to see. I'm so glad he liked my artwork. Here it is all done. I really liked these. I kind of wanted to keep them. And here's another quick shot of the 49ers tray and coasters as well. I hope you like them. Thanks so much for watching. Take care, my kitschy cats and kittens, and I'll see you soon.